At 11:47 p.m., Daniel Mercer got on the last train home. He did the same thing every night. Same platform, same tired faces, same flickering ads on the tunnel wall. Nothing about that night felt important? Not at first. The train arrived 3 minutes late, which wasn't strange. The city's subway system was always late. After 10 p.m., Daniel stepped inside, took the same seat near the middle doors, and looked down at his phone. No signal. Also normal. The train pulled away from Westbridge Station, lights flashing across the windows in long silver streaks. Daniel leaned his head back. He only meant to close his eyes for a second, but when the train stopped, something was different. The doors opened. A cold draft moved through the car. Daniel opened his eyes and looked up. The sign outside the doors said, Ashbury North. He blinked. That wasn't possible. There was no Ashbury North. Not on the blue line, not on any line. Daniel knew the subway map better than most people. He had taken this route for 9 years. After Westbridge came Carlton. After Carlton came Mason Square, then home. There was no stop in between, and yet the doors were open. The platform outside was clean. Too clean. No gum stains. No posters peeling off the walls. No coffee cups near the tracks. No graffiti scratched into the tile. Just pale lights, white walls, and a station name printed in black letters. ASHB, URY North. Daniel looked around the train. No one else reacted. A woman in a red coat kept reading her book. An older man stared straight ahead. A teenager with headphones tapped his foot to music Daniel couldn't hear. Nobody seemed confused. Nobody seemed afraid. The warning chime sounded. Daniel should have stayed seated. That was the first thing he would think later. He should have stayed on the train. But something about the station pulled at him. Not loudly. Not like fear. More like recognition. Like walking past a stranger and realizing, for half a second, that you know them from somewhere. Daniel stood. The doors began to close. He stepped onto the platform, and the train pulled away behind him. The second it disappeared into the tunnel, the station became silent. Not quiet, silent. There was no hum from the lights, no distant rumble from another train, no echo from the city above. Daniel turned slowly. A staircase led upward at the far end of the platform. Beside it was a subway map. He walked over. The map looked normal at first. Same colored lines, same familiar neighborhoods, same transfer points. But then he found Ashbury North. It was there, a small black dot between Westbridge and Carlton. Like it had always been there. Daniel took out his phone and opened the transit app. Still no signal. He tried his messages. Nothing. Then he noticed the time. 11:47 p.m. That was wrong. It had been 11:47 when he got on the train. He stared at the screen. The minute hadn't changed. Daniel looked back down the empty platform. Hello! His voice carried too far. Then, from somewhere above him, a speaker crackled. A calm woman's voice came through. Next train arriving in 4 minutes. Daniel exhaled. Good. That meant he could leave. He sat on a bench and waited. 4 minutes passed. No train came. The speaker crackled again. Next train arriving in 4 minutes. Daniel stood. The time on his phone still said 11:47. He walked to the edge of the platform and looked into the tunnel. Darkness. Not normal tunnel darkness. This was thicker, like the tunnel didn't continue, like it ended just beyond the reach of the platform lights. Then Daniel heard footsteps, slow, measured. Coming from the staircase, he turned. A man in a gray transit uniform stepped onto the platform. He looked about 60. Thin face, white hair, name badge turned backward. Daniel felt relief so strong it almost made him laugh. Excuse me, he said. I think there's been some mistake. What station is this? The man looked at him. Ashbury North. Right, but that station doesn't exist? The man didn't answer? Daniel gave a nervous smile. I mean, I've taken this line for years. There's no stop here. The man looked toward the tunnel. Most people don't notice it. Daniel's smile faded. What does that mean? The man turned back to him. It means you were looking at the wrong moment. A chill moved up Daniel's arms. The speaker crackled again. Next train arriving in 4 minutes. Daniel glanced toward the tunnel. When does the train actually come? The man's expression didn't change. When you stop waiting for it? Daniel let out a short laugh, but there was no humor in it. Okay, is there an exit? The man pointed toward the stairs. Daniel started walking. Halfway there, he turned back. The man was gone. Not walking away. not hidden behind a pillar. Gone. Daniel climbed the stairs quickly. At the top was a corridor lined with white tiles. Too many lights. Every few feet, a poster was mounted behind glass. But they weren't advertisements. They were photographs. Black and white images of empty places. A bedroom. Kitchen table. A hospital hallway. A school gym. Parking lot at night. Daniel slowed. One photo showed a subway platform. This subway platform. Ashbury North. But there were people in the picture. Dozens of them. Standing still, facing the camera. Daniel leaned closer. The photo had a small label beneath it. Passengers who exited, 1989. His throat tightened. He moved to the next photo. A bus stop in the rain. Passengers who exited, 1996. Another. An office elevator. Passengers who exited, 2008. Daniel stepped back. The corridor seemed longer than before. The far end was a turnstile. Beyond it, a stairwell leading up. He hurried toward it. The turnstile accepted no card, no ticket, no payment. There was only a small black screen. As Daniel approached, it lit up. Please confirm destination. Below the words was one option. Home. Daniel hesitated, then pressed it. The turnstile clicked. He pushed through and climbed the stairs. At the top, he expected the city. Cold air. Traffic. Streetlights. Noise. Instead, he found another platform. Same white walls, same black letters. A, S, H, B, U, R, Y, North. Daniel froze. Behind him, the stairs were gone. In their place was a tiled wall. The speaker crackled. Next train arriving in 4 minutes. This time, Daniel didn't wait. He ran, down the platform, past the bench, past the map, past a row of pillars that seemed to repeat too many times. At the far end was a maintenance door. He grabbed the handle. Locked. He kicked it once. Then again. The sound echoed through the station. Something fell from the top of the door frame. A small metal key. Daniel stared at it. It had been taped there. Waiting. His hand shook as he picked it up and unlocked the door. Inside was a narrow service hallway. The air smelled like dust and old paper. Pipes ran along the ceiling. At the end of the hall was a small office. Daniel stepped inside. There was a desk, a chair, a wall clock. The clock read 11:47. On the desk sat a logbook. Its cover was cracked and faded. Daniel opened it. The pages were filled with names, dates, times. Some entries were decades old. Some were recent. He ran his finger down the page until he saw the last entry. Daniel Mercer, 11:47 p.m. Westbridge Line. Status, not yet decided. He stopped breathing for a second. Then he flipped backward. There were hundreds of names, maybe thousands. Each one had a status. Returned, remained, forgotten, delayed, not yet decided. Daniel turned the page. A photograph slipped out. He picked it up. It showed a woman standing on the platform, young, dark hair, blue scarf. Daniel knew her, his mother. But that was impossible. She had died when he was 12. The photo label read, Evelyn Mercer, Ashbury North, 2001. Daniel's legs weakened. He sat in the chair. His mother had died in a car accident. That was what he had always been told. Rainy night, bad intersection, no witnesses. But in the photograph, she was standing right there. At Ashbury North, Daniel turned the photo over. There was writing on the back. She noticed the station. She chose to return. She forgot what she saw. Daniel read it 3 times. Then the office light flickered. The old transit worker stood in the doorway. Daniel shot to his feet. What is this place? The man looked tired now. Not threatening, just tired. A stop. That's not an answer. It's the only one that fits. Daniel held up the photo. My mother was here? Yes. What happened to her? She went back. She passed. The man looked down. Not right away. Daniel stepped toward him. What does that mean? The man's voice lowered. Some people leave this place and forget. But something follows them out. Not a thing. Not a person. A change. Daniel shook his head. No. She saw something she wasn't supposed to see. What? The man looked toward the platform. The pattern? Daniel felt anger rise in him, sharp and sudden. What pattern? The man didn't answer. So Daniel grabbed the logbook and turned it around. What does "not yet decided" mean? The worker looked at the name. It means the station hasn't finished showing you why you're here. Daniel laughed once under his breath. I'm here because I got off the train. No, the man said. You got off the train because you were already here. The station lights dimmed. The station lights dimmed. Only for a second. But when they came back, the office had changed. The desk was gone. The logbook was gone. The worker was gone. Daniel was standing in his apartment. He knew it immediately. Same couch. Same kitchen counter. Same stack of unopened mail. But everything was still. Too still. He walked to the window. The city outside was frozen. Cars sat motionless in the street. Rain hung in the air without falling. Across the room, his phone buzzed. Daniel turned. It was on the counter. The screen showed one new voicemail. From Mom? Daniel backed away. The phone buzzed again. He didn't want to touch it. But he did. The voicemail began with static. Then his mother's voice came through. Soft. Far away. Danny, if you're hearing this, then you found the stop. Daniel sank slowly onto the couch. Her voice trembled. I didn't understand it either, not at first. I thought it was a mistake. I thought I could leave and pretend I never saw it. Static? Then she continued. But Ashbury North doesn't appear by accident. It appears when your life is about to split. Daniel closed his eyes. When I found it, I was supposed to miss the train. If I missed it, I would have lived. If I got back on, I would die years later exactly how I did. Daniel opened his eyes. The room felt smaller. But I went back. Because you were home. Because you were waiting. Because I thought choosing the life I knew was the same as choosing safety. Her voice cracked. It wasn't. The message distorted. Then came one final sentence. When the train comes, don't ask where it goes. Ask what it costs. The voicemail ended. The apartment vanished. Daniel was back on the platform. The speaker crackled. Next train arriving in 4 minutes. Only this time, the tunnel wasn't dark. A light was coming. Small at first. Then brighter. A train. Daniel stepped back. The old worker stood beside him. Daniel didn't look at him. Where does it go? The worker answered quietly. Depends which door you enter. The train slowed into the station. It was not the train Daniel had boarded earlier. This one was older. Silver sides. Dim interior lights. No advertisements. When the doors opened, Daniel saw the inside clearly. Each car was different. In the first car, he saw himself at home the next morning. Waking up, going to work, forgetting the station, living normally. For a while, in the second car, he saw a hospital room, his sister crying beside a bed, his bed. In the third car, he saw his mother, not older, not dead, standing in a small kitchen Daniel didn't recognize. Waiting? The old worker spoke. Every exit is real. Every exit takes something. Daniel looked at the third car. My mother is alive. In that direction? What does it cost? The worker didn't answer. Daniel turned to him. What does it cost? The worker's face looked older than before. You. Daniel stared at him. The station was silent again. The worker nodded toward the first car. That one gives you back the life you know. You forget everything. The station closes. Your path continues. Daniel looked at the second car. And that one. That one shows you what happens if you remember too much and still return. Daniel swallowed. And the third? The worker looked toward Daniel's mother. That one gives you what you lost, but removes you from everyone who knows you now. They won't mourn you. They won't search. They won't remember you existed. Daniel's eyes burned. Inside the third car, his mother turned. For the first time, she saw him. Her hand went to her mouth. Danny. The sound of her voice almost broke him. He stepped toward the car. The worker said nothing. The warning chime sounded. Daniel looked at his mother. Then at the first car. Normal life. His apartment. His job. His sister. His friends. Everything he understood. Then he looked at his mother again. The doors began to close. Daniel moved, but not toward the third car. He stepped into the first. His mother's face changed, not sadness. Understanding. The doors closed between them. Daniel pressed his hand to the glass. She smiled. Then the train pulled away. The lights flickered. Daniel blinked. He was sitting on the subway. Middle doors. Same seat. His phone in his hand. The train was pulling into Carlton Station. The woman in the red coat was still reading. The older man was still staring forward. The teenager still tapped his foot. Daniel looked at his phone. 11:52 p.m. signal had returned. For a moment, he couldn't remember why his hands were shaking. Then he saw something on his screen. A voicemail from an unknown number. Received at 11:47 p.m., he stared at it. He didn't press play. The train doors opened. People got off. People got on. Daniel stayed seated. At the next stop, Mason Square, he stood and walked home in the rain. He did not sleep that night. By morning, he had convinced himself it was stress. The dream. A strange half-sleep moment on the train. He deleted the voicemail without listening. And for 3 months, nothing happened. Then one night, his sister called. Their mother's old belongings had been sitting in storage for years, and she had finally started going through them. "There's something weird in one of the boxes," she said. Daniel felt cold before she explained. "What is it?" "A subway map," she said. "Really old one." Daniel gripped the phone. "And there's a station on it I've never heard of." Daniel closed his eyes. His sister laughed nervously. "Have you ever heard of Ashbury North?" Daniel didn't answer, because across the room, his apartment lights flickered. Once. Then the clock on his microwave changed, 11:47, and somewhere far beneath the city, a speaker crackled to life. "Next train arriving in 4 minutes."